Happy Thursday. You're watching the John McEntyre Show live. I'm John McEntyre. Today is Thursday, May the 30th. One more day before the end of May. And we're going to jump right into it today. We're going to start off with some wallet wins. I'm going to share 3 things you shouldn't do when buying a home. I get a lot of questions about real estate, and I don't know why I haven't done any lives on real estate, but today is the first day. So we're going to talk about some real estate today. So let's get right in. Let's jump into the wallet wins here. The first one is I just paid off my first credit card, and I have 2 more to go. Good wallet win. Credit card debt going away is always a good thing. I know, and that triggers something. Someone asked me, am I anti-credit card? I'm not anti-credit card. I use credit card because this is just a lot of things you can do with them, traveling and making reservations and things like that. But they are something that's like anything else. You have to use responsibly. So, and that depends on a case-to-case basis. If I'm talking to someone that's having debt problems, no, leave credit cards alone. A person that's responsible, they ask, sure, why not? I mean, you handle it. It hasn't become a problem. As long as you're not, getting over the certain limit of using credit cards. I think it's 30%, something like that. Get over 30% of the balance of the actual credit limit of the credit card. You could actually get yourself in trouble unless, you're really working to get out of that trouble. So, yeah. So that is a good one. Just paid off my first credit card. 2 more to go. So keep me updated. Keep us updated on the other 2. Pay off the next one. Let us know. You pay off the next one. Let us know. We want to celebrate with you on having all 3 paid off. Wallet win number 2. Completed my net worth statement and my budget. Okay, you made 2 strong moves there because the net worth statement lets you know where you are financially, and that's the first thing when we're working with someone with their finances is to complete the net worth statement even before the first meeting, really, just to understand where they are, because most people haven't completed a net worth statement. What most people don't realize, since today I'll be talking about a little bit about real estate later on, buying a home, that's really what a mortgage application is. It's a net worth statement. You're completing a net worth statement because that's how they're going to loan the money based off of net worth. And it's called application, mortgage application, things like that. But all it is just a good old-fashioned net worth statement. Especially with the mortgage because it's so thorough. Business loans, they're very thorough with it. You're pretty much, you are completing a net worth statement. When it comes to other types of loans, mortgage credit, things like that, it's mainly the FICO scores, stuff like that. But when it comes to homes, business, net worth statement, that's what you are completing. And they want to know everything. So it's just a good place if you're planning to buy a home or making a purchase, something like that, or going into business. It's just good practice to just complete a net worth statement. I'm going to make one available on the website on johnmcentyre.com, and you'll be able to go and download it and complete one if you haven't completed a net worth statement. And the other one is budget. They also completed a budget, so they were very busy. They did some serious homework completing both of those. Now they know where they are and they know what their money is going to do. They're telling their money what to do now. And hopefully they will stick with it and keep us updated on how well you're doing with the budget. Because like I've said before, it takes maybe 3 months of, being consistent with the budget before you finally start to really fall into the groove and see that it's actually working. Most people, they give up too early with the budget and say, well, this is not working. Well, it is working. It just needs time for you to really see it. Unless, sometimes you'll see things happen much quicker if you had a lot going on and, you were like very aggressive with, maybe paying something off. Then you can see your budget actually functioning much quicker. But other than that, 90 days and you will see the benefits of it. I've yet to hear anyone say that they did not benefit once they stuck to the budget long term. So, big time win number 2, completed my net worth statement and budget. And number 3, this is a very good one. Just purchased renter's insurance. And I didn't realize how much expensive stuff I owned. And that's a serious win because that's probably for someone that doesn't own their home. Renter's insurance is probably one of the best investments they can make. Well, let me put it this way. You get the biggest bang for your buck because renter's insurance is very inexpensive. I mean, especially if you attach it to your auto, if you have a car and, you combine it. It's like home and auto insurance. You can do it with renter's insurance also. If you don't own a home, but, you have all of it, you have this stuff inside of where you rent your apartment or house. It can add up. I mean, it's been plenty of times I've had meetings with people and they, 2 or 3 big televisions on the wall, the latest games, audio systems, their phones, computers, furniture. I've seen some very expensive antique pieces that were passed down through the family and all of that. And I'm actually going to do a show about that, of actually having all of your personal property appraised. Because I've seen more than once where the actual the belongings, the owner's personal property was actually more valuable than the actual home itself. Once everything was added up, the insurance to cover the personal property was more than the real estate. Well, where you would just you can insure. You just buy more insurance for your home, you probably will save more money that way. That's where you would talk to an insurance agent. But I've seen that more than once. And 1 or 2 pieces. The house worth $150,000. That antique vase $300,000. But most people wouldn't think of it like that. So if a fire happened or some, a flood or something like that happened. You take a serious loss. Just think your phone and your phone and computer. I know I would be hurt just those 2 being damaged or, losing them in a fire or something like that. And not counting all of the other, documents and everything that's so valuable. So that's why I will be doing a show about that. I'm going to have a personal property appraiser on the show and really educate you on the importance of having your personal property appraised. But that's a very good one. Just purchase renter's insurance. Very smart move, very inexpensive move, but will definitely, that you're talking about causing peace of mind. I'm quite sure the person is feeling some serious peace of mind now that they've covered, have all of their stuff covered inside, these houses, even though they don't own them, houses and garages full of a bunch of stuff. It needs to be insured. So there you go. 3 good wallet wins. Now, today it wasn't really it was posed to me as a question, but it was really something that I saw. I've seen like a couple of articles, people talking about buying a home and what they should and shouldn't do, and preparing for a home, and people are buying a home is very exciting, but it's extremely stressful, especially for the first-time home buyers. I've had some people. I was like, I don't think it's that bad. I don't know, but I've had some of my female clients say, yeah, it was up there with childbirth. It was stressful. It was very stressful, and I was like, well, it wasn't painful. It was just stressful, right? Well, no, it means nothing can beat child. There's no pain worse than childbirth, Well, it is very stressful. It's up there. It's like divorces, um, bankruptcies, then purchasing or selling a home or property, especially a home, is like is in the top 5 of stressors. And so a lot of times people bring stress on themselves in these particular situations because of some mistakes that they make. And so there's more than 3. I wanted to cover the top 3 that just happens, all of and these are 3 things you shouldn't do. I'm going to cover 3 things you shouldn't do when buying a home. The first one is avoid changing jobs. Just don't change jobs. And the reason why is because when you go to a mortgage, if you're financing a home, you go to a mortgage company, what's the first thing they ask? Where do you work? Or do you have a job? Something like that. And they want to know how long, because the longer you worked, the more stable you appear to them, because they are making a loan and they are like taking some risk. So they want to make sure that their risks are covered. Back the mortgage. Do you have the ability to make the mortgage payments? And so just saying I got a job last month and I'm making $80,000 a year, that's not enough for them. They want to see, maybe 2 years at least 2 years. And if you have a full-time job and you have a part-time job, they won't even count the part-time job unless it's been at least 2 years that you've been doing at least 2 years, because they want to see the actual stability in place. So your job, and just another little tip that I learned over the years of real estate, your job title affects, the stability of what of them believing that you could pay the loan back. And I learned that from a credit counselor, that your actual job title actually adds some weight to your lending power, your borrowing power, for lack of a better term. And so the job is one of the number one indicators of stability, of you being a stable home buyer. And to go and to change jobs in the middle means it's not that you're probably not stable, but in their eyes, you've become unstable, because you came in with this job and now you've switched jobs. So to them, you went back to zero, because you really don't know how long you're going to have this job. So if you were at a job 5 years, something like that, or over 2 years, and you go to apply for a mortgage, then just stay with the job. I'm not going to tell you what to do after you close, but stay with the job, because that's what they want to see. That's just what the lenders want to see. Number 2, don't make any large purchases on credit. Don't make any large purchases on credit. This is a biggie, because especially with the first time buyers, what's the first thing people start doing? They start furnishing it in their mind. They're walking through the house and they're looking at this room. Ooh, it would be nice to have that big sectional over there. And, I would put my 60-inch or my Samsung wall up on a wall TV over here. And I would, I'd have to put the big velvet painting of the dogs playing pool on that wall. I'm just kidding. It was just to see if people around me was paying any attention. They just start furnishing the house. And sometimes they're buying this nice house with a big garage, and they say, ooh, I can't drive this car up to this house. So now they're even thinking of buying a car, they furnish the house. Now they're thinking of buying a car. I'm like, wait a minute, Don't do any of that stuff, because here's what happened. When you're making a mortgage, unless you're going for a mortgage where you don't need um, an actual FICO score or credit to get that loan, and those are few and far between. It's very possible. It happens a lot. It just you just don't see it as much. But unless you're doing that, you're dependent on your FICO score, your credit, to be good. And when you go to buy something on credit, your credit is pulled. Well, that's called a ding on your credit. Your credit has been pulled in this, and so lenders see that your credit has been pulled. They want to know why, because if you came in and you had an 800 credit score, but then you've had some hits to your credit, they want to know why, because they're like, okay, you may get overextended. You may be going down the path of being overextended with your credit. And what happens during the buying process, they pull your credit in the beginning because you're going for a pre-approval, so they pull your credit. Well, around a day, 24 hours before closing, they pull your credit again. And if those numbers aren't matching, if they haven't went up, if they've gone down, I've seen people being denied and had to go and apply for a new type of loan, because they went and they added extra debt and their credit score fell. I've seen buyers fall from being approved for a conventional loan to having to go for an FHA loan, because they went into debt and their credit score was affected. Their loan to value ratios, were knocked out of whack and everything. And so the lenders was like, we're not giving you this loan because your credit score is not the same. Now, if your credit score went up, everybody's fine. Everyone's happy. It's because you were doing what you're supposed to do. But if it goes down, then they say, well, based on this, we were going to make the loan based on this information. Your information has changed and not for the better. We will not make this loan. And it happens. And people, that's why I always say, first things like, buy the home, get closed. I can't tell you what to do. I can suggest what to do and what not to do. I can't tell you what to do. But between approval and closing, don't make any financial moves. Don't rearrange finances. Don't do anything. Just keep everything moving forward. That's why I say there's other things you should do, but I'm just covering the top 3. So just make sure you don't do anything that requires credit during that time period. I've seen people say, I'm having my closing next week, and I'm going to be so focused on the home, I'm just going to take my vacation now, since everything is taken care of, and you can handle it for me while I'm gone. And if you need me, you can call me on my cell or whatever, this, that, and the other. Call me on my mobile. Sure. Lender says, we're not closing this loan. Why? These people have spent almost $10,000 on a cruise, on a credit card. What? Yeah. So we're going to call them, let them know that their loan is not closing. So the vacation is ruined. There's someone probably having to keep them from jumping off the ship and everything. Carnival's probably nervous now, and they probably have them on suicide watch, because now they're not coming back to their new home. They went out to celebrate, and now they're coming back to not being able to make the purchase that they went to celebrate. So don't make any major purchases on credit. Don't move any finances around, period, during that time period. And number 3, don't miss loan payments. Believe what people will do sometimes, because they were like, well, I was trying to build up my savings. So I was like, well, I won't make this payment. I'll put it here or this. No, just whatever you were doing when you came to apply for the loan, just keep doing that, because that's what they're going off of. So just keep doing that. Don't miss any loan payments. And credit card, car loans, don't do any of that. Like I say, they look at your credit before finalizing everything, and a missed payment, that's not good. Okay, if you don't pay for this, you may not make your mortgage payment, and so there you go. They may call the loan. I've seen, like I say, I've seen them revoke loan commitments numerous times. Hasn't happened to me personally a lot, because that's why I took a lot of personal finance classes on top of my real estate continuing education. But I used to hear horror story after horror story. I used to hear some upset agents in the office mad because they did all of this work, and now they're having to either just let it go or figure out another way to get things done. And it no one's happy after that, because you've lost time, you've lost money, probably lost a better loan. Now you're going to have to go to a different type of a loan, and it may have a higher interest rate or something like that. So those are just the three top things on my not to do list when buying a home. And so there's plenty more. We can talk more outside of the show. If you're thinking about buying a home, where contact us and we'll talk about that. We'll make sure that you're prepared, you're ready financially to make this what is considered one of the largest investments you'll make, financial investments you'll make. Well, my opinion is more than financial investment. It's mental, emotional, financial, sometimes spiritual. It affects your entire life, making this type of a purchase. So it's not exactly something you just go into like you're going grocery shopping. It should be some thought and some planning put into it to do it right. Because if you buy right, if you ever have to sell, it'll be easy to sell, or you won't be stressed out doing, while you're owning a home, become resentful. So I hope those 3 points was of some help to you. And like I say, don't hesitate to contact us if you want to talk more about buying a home, whatever. We're here to help with those situations. So before I go, I have a very good question of the day for you. And almost mid-year. We're going into June. June will be here in 2 days. And so most people, resolutions were over by the end of February. Some last a little bit longer. Then it trickles off, and by the mid-year, they're pretty much all gone. The people that's not going to do them, they're all gone. So that's the question of the day. How many resolutions that you made during New Year's have you kept? That's something for all of us to think about. I've accomplished some things. There's some things we're working on. And there's some things I didn't make a resolution, I didn't resolve to do, that we're actually doing. This is one of them. This live show. I didn't at the beginning of the year plan to do it, but I was challenged because someone called me out because I had made it a couple of years ago, and they called me out, and I was like, okay, I have to save face here. So that's why I'm here doing live every day at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So keep that in mind. What resolutions have you kept? And if they're financial and you want to get back on track, get your finances back on track, or whatever, you made that resolution to save more, to start investing, to start the child's college, or anything financial, and you need help or want someone to sit down with you and help you make out a plan for your money, we're the people to call. You can call us at McEntyre Financial. My information is on. Whatever your choice of communication, we will work with it. So I'm going to close there, and I will be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the John McEntyre Live Show. And until tomorrow, we'll talk.